friends, welcome to Desmodus-The Romantic Vampire Collaboration. Today I am going to share with you a flip through of the journal that I made. As you can see, this is an actual book, so I used a book that I had already taken the papers out of. I don't even know why, but I did. And so I turned it into a journal. So it's a black cover, it's the original cover. As you can see here, I have added a doily and I did some distressing on the doily. And I'm going to show you these so that I don't forget, because I frequently do as I'm flipping through. We have a bat, we have a key, and we have a bony hand. Now, Desmodus is not an evil vampire. I suppose they're all supposed to be evil, but he's not. And he has switched over to green drinks to sustain him and almond milk. So he's a good guy. And he's just looking for the love of his life. Someone that he can share his days and evenings with, flying around and doing what vampires do, but in the good way, not the bad way. So there is a printable kit, and it's called Desmodus, and you can pick that up in my Etsy shop. There are also some freebies available in my Facebook group. So if you join and you agree to the terms, then you are welcome to all of my freebies. I have a stack of freebies now, and so you're welcome to grab those over there. Now, over here I have a piece of gel printed paper, and if you look you can see that I used some gold. So I used red paint, some gold, and some glitter, and it is beautiful. So if you've watched some of the process of this, you might remember that the original end papers in the book were bright yellow, and it just didn't work for me. So I thought covering them and then covering the edge of this fabric here that I used, I thought that would be a nice touch. So over here on our first page, this is part of the printable kit, and I added some trim down the side. I did print the printable kit on the back of scrapbook paper, okay? I like to do that. That way I get to use printables and I get to use up my scrap paper. The purple papers throughout I crinkled up, and I added a little bit of ink just to, so they weren't plain, right? I didn't want this to be a gator mouth, so I didn't embellish the tags a ton. So a lot of the tags you'll see will be nice and flat, easy to write on, actually. And many of the pockets will be nice and flat. You'll notice that I have some lace tabs, music paper tabs, and fabric tabs. This is a piece of coffee dyed paper with a purplish hue to it. You can see the trim I put in here with the gold as well. Here's a piece of vintage music paper that I used as a tab. Now this is Desmodus' family. This is the story of Desmodus. This is his family here. So you're going to notice some old papers throughout. They were actually original to the book, and I thought that they were perfect to create Desmodus' family and all of that. This is a jelly printed paper in purple with a tab and some lace down here and some satin trim and some black, what do we call those, flat backs, and then his bride. My true love hath my heart, and I have his. Jelly printed on this side. I loved it so much I didn't want to cover it. A nice belly band just with some black flat backs and a pretty tag. Now we created tags in the first video in the series, and so that was one of the tags that I created. Here's Desmodus looking so handsome and young. This is an authentic vintage postcard. I think that's so cool because it's caves. Isn't that perfect? And some vintage music paper, and I embellished that with some fabric and a little piece of ephemera here. Today's the perfect day to start living your dreams. I mean, vampires have dreams too. And then this is a piece of my handmade paper, and I went ahead and I added a little purple ink and a purple heart right here. This looks like one of my Gothic girls, and I can't remember if I used this one in the kit or if it's just one that got created, but at any rate, it was perfect, so I popped it in here. Jelly print page with a little tab from the kit, and I popped that little tag in there. It's just a nice little piece of purple paper, a little perfume bottle from the kit. Original pages to the book here. I did a little inking around the edges. This is some eco-dyed paper. You're going to see some of this throughout the journal, along with this trim and the gold trim as well, which is vintage. The gold is vintage. More music paper that you can see that I inked with purple and brown, and a nice big tag. Embellished it with a crow and this piece here. It's just a matter of time. A little side pocket here. Find the beauty in every day. And a candelabra on the, this is gel printed paper. And a little candle from the kit. I thought that fit perfect there. Some more gel print. A vampire like a lady never reveals his true age. And then you're going to see the gold papers throughout, and I went ahead and did some light stenciling around the edges just so that they wouldn't be plain. This is what certificates come in, and I think there's at least 2 of these in the printable kit. So the ones that have the gold, I left it in case you have a gel pen. You could draw, or you could write in there, or draw, whatever you want to do. This bottle of potion is from the kit, and the lace I added here, and then some trim. And this is from the kit, just some pretty pink and black flowers. And this is a piece of ephemera. Some really pretty altered wax paper. It's so cool and it feels neat. So over here I went ahead and I added some gesso to this so that you could write over top of it. You could add more if you wanted to, but I thought if you ended up drawing a picture, or you ended up adding something different to it as opposed to writing, it might be cool to be able to see through as much as you can. This is 1923, look here, 1923, do they call that register papers? Can't remember what they're called, but anyway, that is vintage for sure. This paper is vintage, it's turning yellow, but it has lines on it still, but it is turning yellow. This is the center of the second signature. Here's a nice pocket. Again, he's romantic, so, you know, he might want to have tea with his lady love. I wanted this journal to lean into a romantic feel, and I feel like I accomplished that. You'll have to let me know what you think. Did a little stenciling here. I like the night. Without the dark, we would never see the stars. The other side of this cool paper that was gifted to me in a happy mail. Here we have a nice pocket with a coffin and some flowers on the tag. Gel print here, so pretty. I need to do more. They came out just so nice. All a vampire has is time. Here we have a piece from the kit, and I just added this little tag, which also is from the kit. Here's Desmodus in his library. Nice big tag and a little pocket with an inkwell and an old-fashioned pen. This is vintage book page. This is gel print with the addition of modeling paste or molding paste. One of the two. I think I have the modeling paste. Some velvet ribbon up here and some lace. More vintage book page. Nice page with some pretty trim and a pocket and a nice big tag. This is the center of the third signature. A nice side pocket over here with a little bit of gold brown and a candle and a big tag. You know what I did with these is these were quite large and I wanted to cut them down. I didn't want to waste it. So I cut off the side and I ended up using that for a pocket. And then they coordinate so nicely together. This is some more velvet and then some lace and that vintage paper over top of some gel print. If you need me, I will be in my coffin. This is the other side of Desmodus' library, and he has his kitty, and kitty cat's hanging out. And here he is. This is a pretty pocket with a tag that I made in the first video. I'm going out to get a bite to drink. Although he's not, it's not people. He's just gonna go bite on a carton of almond milk. Yeah, he'll poke holes in it. He'll poke holes in it with his teeth and then just suck it out from there. I love this tag. It's just so pretty with the lace and the top hat. And this is some gel print papers. I am giving away this journal because, well, it's always fun to do a giveaway. But also my, when I sewed the signatures in, they got a little crooked, and so I don't feel that I would want to sell something like that unless I was intentionally going for a really grungy look. Which I guess this does have some grungy elements, but I'm gonna give it away. Nice big tag of his castle there. Once in a lifetime. Here he is, he's having a ball at his castle, and he and his lady love, they are dancing, and you can see the ghostly figures also dancing and having a wonderful time. Just a nice tag over here. This is just pretty. And I didn't even put anything on here because I liked the way it was. I liked the way that it made me feel. It's sort of clean, but yet there's a lot going on still. So we have our trim and our satin trim here, our pretty little pocket, and then inside is just an image of some roses. And I like the way it just looks clean and works together, and you know, it didn't need to be complicated. Some more gel print. Added a little candle down here. Little side pocket here. These are actually like puffy stickers, but they're glittery, and I reinforced them with some Aleene's tacky glue. Another little side tuck there with a pretty tag. And another one over here. And here is Desmodus' Lady Love. This says, "You gave me your immortal kiss," a quote by Anne Rice. And there he is, just gazing out over his porch, looking at the moon and just having a wonderful evening. This just has a butterfly on it, and I think it's pretty. It's over this purple gel print with glitter in it. I've been adding glitter to the gel prints, and oh man, does it make it pretty. Oh, this is my favorite gel print pattern. I don't know why, but I love it. The strength of the vampire is that people will not believe in him. So here I have just a little flip. And you can add whatever you want here, but this little flip if you wanted to write on the back of the card. And then on this side, just a piece of eco-dyed paper. This is Desmodus Brothers, and I don't know what their story is. Here we have a little upper pocket. Here is his lady love on her wedding night. She's wearing a wedding dress. I don't know why she's walking around outside. Maybe she just wants to catch a little bit of fresh air before the nuptials. Here we have a upper pocket with more of these puffies that I reinforced. Now, this is a real picture of the guy that used to advise, gosh, you guys know his name. Doesn't he look like a creep? He's the guy that used to advise the royals. And I wish I could remember his name, but if I said it, you would totally know who I was talking about. He basically would act like a fortune teller, you know, or like he could see into the future. So here we have this postcard, and it flips open like that. You can do whatever you'd like here. And when we turn it, we have a vintage playing card that flips open, and also some eco-dyed paper. A nice little bottom pocket with a pretty tag that goes inside. And an upper pocket here. Here he is. He got out some paperwork. He was thinking about doing a prenup, so here's some scrolly paper there. This is a paper flip. You just flip it open just like that. 1923 is the date of this authentic paper, and this was given to me, I'm sorry, 1934. How did I get 23 out of that? 1934, which was gifted to me by my friend BB of BB's Closet Creations, and thank you, BB. This is just some nice, sort of an olive color green here. I left this blank for you. Some crinkled up purple paper. This is some eco dye on vintage paper, then with some modeling paste or molding paste. Maybe I have the molding paste. It probably doesn't even really matter. They're very, very similar. Here is some eco dye. If you know if there's a difference between the modeling paste and the molding paste, and there must be some difference, let me know what that difference is. I would love to know. This is rice paper. Ribbon, or lace I should say. This is the center of the fifth signature, sixth signature, maybe the sixth signature. It's just a mirror and some roses. More rice paper, some trim and some lace over here as well. This is the other side of that paper with the molding paste on it. This is a piece of gel print from my friend Penny of Penny's Crafty Creations. 1934, and actually the date's right there. Isn't that so cool, you guys? Thank you, BB, for this wonderful paper. I love it. I love it, love it. Just a piece of gray cardstock that can be written on. Forget what you think you know. This is vintage paper that I did some gel print on, then added some lace, and then this piece of ephemera. It says carriages on it. Here's Desmodus family, and they are going sailing. Well, that doesn't really look like a sailboat. It looks more like a big steamboat is what that looks like. And there they are, his family's having a nice vacation. Some more molding paste here. Another pocket with a card, and it says when night comes, and that's blank on the back, so you can write on that. Here's Desmodus Castle. And here he is, looking like quite the dapper gentleman. Here we have this, I just love how this trim just went so well with the journal. It wasn't planned out. It was in my stash, and I saw it and I was like, I need to try that, and it really worked great. And then the black and white is a nice accent with that. Oh, he has birds, you know, he likes them, and so here he is. You know, birds don't usually fly at night, but his do. This looks like a crow. He's training this crow, right? He's training the crow so he can put love letters in his mouth, and the crow will take it and deliver it. So that's what's going on there. Wake up and smell the roses. And here he is. It says, you transfix me. And him and his lady love are getting ready, I think, to go for a nice fly. So here is another piece that I used the gesso on. I went a little bit thicker on this one, so you could write over it very easily. I don't think the letters in the background would really be bothersome at all. Here is Desmodus here. He looks a little bit older here, but still in love with his lady. More gel print with modeling paste. This is one of the pages from the book. It's plain, and so I left it plain. This is the last page of the book, and there his bride is again. And this is a piece of gel print that I put over one of the original book pages. And then I did the same on this side just to dress it up a little bit. But I left this blank because it does have a map in the back, which I thought was kind of cool. And that's it, my friends. So I am giving away this journal. There are 5 videos in this collaboration. So go ahead and each video just put in the comments that you would like to be entered into the drawing to win this fun romantic journal. All right, my friends, I appreciate you. I appreciate all of my collaborators. You guys are amazing. And I appreciate you, all of my friends, coming over to check out this journal. Thanks for watching. See you soon.